I'm Jordan Rabih. I'm the Artistic Director of Levantine Cultural Center. It's really my great pleasure to introduce Rabih Alameddine, who of course is a Lebanese American painter and writer. He was born in Jordan to a Druze family, though he considered himself an atheist. He's the author of 3 novels. The first was Koolaids in 1998. He published also a book called I the Divine in 2001, and then a collection of short stories, The Perv, which is everyone's favorite. And most recently, of course, the Hakawati, the storyteller. There's a really interesting quote that is in his previous book. In America, I fit but don't belong. In Lebanon, I belong but don't fit. And to me, a lot of the fiction that I'm seeing coming out of the Middle East and among Arab American writers and Iranian American writers is this sort of being between worlds. You know, I'm part of this and part of that, and both at the same time and neither. And I'm just wondering if, in his talk tonight, Rabih will talk to us about that particular condition of being an Arab and an American, Arab American, and all the other things that you write about. Thank you for being here.
I'm going to read either 3 or maybe 4 sections, depending on time and your level of interest. So let's start, and then we can move along. Listen. Allow me to be your God. Let me take you on a journey beyond imagining. Let me tell you a story. A long, long time ago, an emir lived in a distant land. In a beautiful city, a green city with many trees and exquisite gurgling fountains, whose sound lulled the citizens to sleep at night. Now, the emir had everything, except for the one thing his heart desired. A son. He had wealth earned and inherited. He had health and good teeth. He had status, charm, respect. His beautiful wife loved him. His clan looked up to him. He had a good pedicurist. 20 years he had been married, 12 lovely girls, but no son. What to do? He called his vizier. Wise vizier, he said, I need your help. My lovely wife has been unable to deliver me a son, as you know. Each of my 12 girls is more beautiful than the other. They have milk-white skin as smooth as the finest silk from China. The glistening pearls from the Arabian Gulf pale next to their eyes. The luster of their hair outshines the black dyes from the land of Sind. The oldest has 17 poets singing her praises. 1,000th time suggested his master take a second wife. Before it's too late, my lord, it is obvious that your wife will not produce a boy. We must find someone who will. My liege is the only man within these borders who has only one wife. The emir had rejected the suggestion countless times, and that day would be no different. He looked wistfully out onto his garden. I cannot marry another, my dear vizier. I am terribly in love with my wife. She can be ornery now and then, vain for sure, petulant and impetuous, silly at times, ill-disposed toward the help, even malicious and malevolent when angry. But still, she has always been the one for me. All wonder what will happen when you ascend to heaven. Who will lead our tribes? I believe some may wish to ask the question sooner. I will kill them, the emir yelled. I will destroy them. Who dares question how I choose to live my life? Settle down and be reasonable. You can have intercourse with Fatima until she conceives. She is pretty, available, and amenable. We can have our boy through her. But I do not think I can. His wife smiled as she stood. Worry not, husband. I will attend, and I will do that thing you enjoy. I will call Fatima, and we can inform her of what we want. We will set an appointment for Wednesday night, a full moon. When Fatima was told of their intentions, she did not hesitate. I am always at your service, she said. However, if the emir wishes to have a son with his own wife, there is another way. So this next segment is narrated by Uncle Jihad, the uncle. And the main narrator, Osama, had just gone to his grandfather's funeral, and I don't know whether you know anything about Middle Eastern funerals, whether they're Jewish, Christian, or Muslim. They tend to be a little bit over the top. And the boy was overwhelmed, so Uncle Jihad is trying to mollify him, make him feel better. "Are you feeling bad, Uncle?" asked Uncle Jihad. "Was it the funeral?" "Why did everybody have to shout so much?" I asked. "Aren't we Druze supposed to have silent funerals?" It's page 204. He sipped his drink slowly, seemed to be having a conversation with the ceiling and not me. "In principle, but not in practice, for how will the dead know that we love them?" he said. "You know, darling, funerals used to be much more dramatic when I was your age. Believe it or not, they are quieter now, more sedate." He hummed, took another sip. "Why, I can just imagine what they'll be like when you're my age now. Probably no one will show up. Bang, 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 and it's over. Mourners were alive only if alcohol is being served, like at Irish funerals." By the way, I read this in Dublin. This third segment is again narrated by Uncle Jihad, but this time he's telling stories of his growing up. So he's telling, he's probably 13 here, and so it's Beirut in 1943. "My father has his pigeon stories, and I have mine. For life, like a good tale, repeats itself. I noticed my first flock of pigeons in the skies of Beirut when I was a boy of 13. They were always there, but like most people, I'd been oblivious. Notice their existence once, and you begin to see them everywhere, all the time. I saw my first flock, and 10 minutes later I saw my second, and then my third and fourth, and all of a sudden, my skies brimmed with pigeons. One afternoon, while admiring a flock in flight, I began to guess at the presence of magic. I was able to discern the art as well as the logic of flight patterns. The realization was both gradual and instantaneous. Magic. I went from taciturn to loquacious in less than a second. I told him that I could come every day after class. He was only a few meters from the school, and I was a fast learner and would do whatever he asked and never complain. And that I looked like I was from a good family because I was going to a good school, but I was from the mountains. And my family was still up there, and I really wanted to make the pigeons fly. He should try me out. It became obvious that he was trying his best not to laugh out loud. He said he could only afford 1 lira a week, which was a fortune, and he knew it. Had I walked away when he told me he wouldn't hire me, I would have failed the first test. He always said he knew the instant I came to the roof that I would end up a pigeoneer, that he saw it in the obsessive twinkle in my eye. The man's name was Ali Aitani. He was a Shiite, and he owned the old building, which had no elevator, I might add. "You're beautiful," I said to them. I realized that I had spoken out loud to a pair of birds. I looked around, and the twin seemed bemused. "You do know how to pick your boys," Kamal said to Ali. It was the first time I'd heard one address the other without a slur. After that, the volcano released its pressure, and I began to talk to the pigeons incessantly. I talked to them about everything. I told them how lovely they were. I warned them about the dangers of the world, complimented them on their choice of partners. I talked, and Ali and Kamal had found the boy was going to entertain them for a long time. The pigeons did respond. They may not have understood a word I said, but they began to enjoy the sound of my voice. When I ran out of things to say, I just prattled. And you can probably figure out what happened. I talked, and one day I started on what I do best for my audience, pigeons and humans. I began to tell stories.